ing the voicemail with my voice, begging her back was fabricated. At 6:04 a.m., Lee pressed play on a voicemail that was supposed to ruin us. My voice filled our kitchen, lower, rougher, punched full of breaths I didn't earn. "Open the door," it said. "I can't do this without you. I'll be there at 11 with champagne. Don't make me beg, Tamsin." The message ended with a soft laugh that has never lived in my throat. Lee stood there in my t-shirt, hair knotted, eyes steady. She runs a tenants clinic that sues buildings until they remember doors are promises. I manage other people's fires for a living and keep keys for doors that pretend to be puzzles. Between us, melodrama has to pay rent. "Say it," she said. "Honeysuckle," I said, and the stupid charm we invented sealed the room back to us. I hadn't called Tamsin last night. I hadn't called anyone. I'd been face down in a memo about camera bans near clinic doors until Lee sat on me and reminded my mouth that the world is not just agenda. I would like to be the sort of man who never needed reminding. I am the sort of man who does. Lee replayed the breathy lie. The timestamp wore midnight like perfume. The caller ID said unknown with the confidence of a dare. "It landed in my voicemail in the building thread," she said. "Someone thought our neighbors should have a gift." "Tamsin gets the chorus," I said, because bad taste is predictable. Tamsin Arledge, my mistake from a decade I refused to narrate well, Verdant's favorite consultant in black nouns. The woman Murmur keeps drafting into my mornings because she fits my past like a talisman. My phone buzzed, with the kind of timing that thinks it's funny. "Unknown, for dignity consider sitting tonight out. We'll keep harbor deck calm. Sable Murmur." Of course it was Sable. Murmur Labs sells shortcuts as strategy and invoices as inevitability. Tonight the commission would vote on Verdant's harbor deck overlay, 3 hotel floors renamed Wellness Micro Residences, which counts as housing if you own a mat, and an app that congratulates you for breathing. Lee had written the memo that made their lawyers call their therapists. I was slated to testify that Crown's new toy, Voice Mesh, confuses courtesy with consent. A scandal buys Verdant a month and Murmur a salon at Sky Lobby, with canapes and prompt cards, and a rumor warming itself at the coat check. Lee held the phone to the light. "It's not your breath," she said. "It's a man imitating a cliff." "Jono," I said. "Jono lives above a bakery and treats forensic software like a piano." By 6:21, the voicemail sat on one screen and Crown's voice mesh spec on another. Sky blue, verbs that belong in church, nouns that need guardrails. He fed the WAV into a spectral plot and shook his head the way men do when disappointed by a story that could have been more careful. "Clone," he said. "They trained on 3 interviews, a city PSA, and a podcast you shouldn't have done. See the watermark 13 kilohertz, a faint comb filter. That's Crown's dev tag. And this," he zoomed on the sibilants, "is a model that doesn't know you drop your S's when you're tired. The breaths are pasted. The laugh is a library file called Fondness 2. Lee looked up, mouth soft with a private win. "Who fed it my voicemail?" she asked. Jono switched to headers. "Murmur's CDN," he said. "Routed through Crown's courtesy announce gateway. They spoofed your caller ID for the building thread using a partner perk Crown never meant to ship to civilians." "Never meant to ship to anyone," Lee said. Jono glanced at the oscillating fan behind us and smiled in the way that doesn't reach his eyes. "They also pushed an urgent appeal to 4 more phones in your block at 0017, he said. "All women, all tagged anonymous for safety. It's the same message plus a 10-second sigh." "We'll need affidavits," Lee said, and started texting like a woman who has never been ignored by rules or men. We still had to see whether Kira upstairs had decided to be useful or branded. She met us at Sky Lobby with a folder and a face that had fallen out of love with hospitality 20 minutes earlier. "I canceled tonight at 7:08, she said before we asked. "No salon, no prompts, no canapes. Verdant can talk to the river." She slid the folder across the blonde wood. Inside, voice mesh, trusted voice, training guidelines, an API called Concierge Whisper that should be illegal, a Crown alert that read we detected preview voice usage in production, and a typed resignation she didn't need. "Someone used Concierge Whisper to send our message to your building," she said. "I am going to find out which partner thought that was conversation." Lee pinched the guidelines until they made an ugly noise. "Partner triggered," she read. "Always this phrase." "Partners need to stop triggering anything," Kira said. "I'm writing it on my hand." We walked downstairs to Merci Boudoir because their front desk does flowers and secrets without blinking. Madame Merci had a ledger ready and an apology you could hang a legal theory on. "Crown's driver handed me roses at 5:40 yesterday," she said. "He winked. I did not wink back. He read a card aloud so he could feel like gossip. I pretended not to understand. I am excellent at pretending not to understand." "We'll take your affidavit," Lee said, "and a black ribbon that clearly isn't yours." We still had 40 minutes before the chair would text "bring that," and Lee still had a promise to collect. In our hallway, she pressed me into the door and undid my belt with the precision she uses on contracts. It wasn't obscene. It was maintenance. She climbed onto me and put her mouth at the hinge below my collarbone and shut up my day. When she whispered, "Say it," I did, because there are rituals that make mornings honest in ways policy can only attempt. Honeysuckle. By 9, the packet sat on the chair's desk. Joan O'Spectral spectral plots, Crown's dev watermark, Kira's cancellation, an email from the Bellwether's mail clerk who now keeps a sworn statement template next to the scale, and Sable's text inviting me to sell my calendar for dignity. The aide wrote back what we needed. "We do not postpone because someone can practice your vowels." The hearing room learned how to be stern without being cruel. Verdant's counsel said vibrant and wellness and micro-residences like a spell. Crown's manager sat with the posture of someone who knows his road map needs an ethics chapter. Sable leaned on the back rail, watching us as if she were deciding whether losing could be a kind of art. Tamsin arrived late and did not pretend she hadn't. "Mr. Hale," the chair said. I held up the waveform on the projector and then Crown's page that tried to name it a courtesy. "This morning my partner received a voicemail of me begging another woman," I said. Crown's voice mesh seeded it with my past and murmur made a calendar out of breathing. There is a watermark in the hiss, a library laugh in the throat, and your vote in the crosshairs. We do not postpone because a dev tag learned to blush. Lee followed and cut the room into pieces we could build with. "Clinic first," she said. "Escrow with teeth. Cameras that go blind near doors marked clinics. Band partner triggered anything, voice mesh, access mesh, memory mesh, doc flow, care sync from agreements that touch public money. And write this sentence in a font our city will remember. No simulated intimacy, audio, visual, legal, financial, shall be used to influence a public decision." Kira stepped into the well and committed the public treason all private brands should aspire to. "Sky Lobby cancels tonight's salon," she said. "Bellwether regrets mistaking vibe for vocabulary. Voice mesh, trusted voice, is disabled across our system. We will not be a speaker for anyone's rumor." Sable did not clap. She has been learning. The chair lifted her gavel with the relief of a person who knows the room can carry itself. We vote, she said. The overlay failed. The ordinance we've been carving from our mornings finally stood tall enough to cast a healthy shadow. Escrow lands before a single wellness, floor touches a tax credit. Crown's partner-triggered modules, voice, access, memory, doc, care, comfort, are illegal in any agreement touching housing or civic process. Cameras go blind near clinics. And the line I taped above our kettle, no simulated intimacy or credential may be used to influence public decisions. After, in the alley where rooms go to cool, and people go to choose smaller sentences, Sable leaned against Brick and looked at us like we were the only part of the day that didn't waste her. You make my work unattractive, she said. You make our mornings loud, Lee said. Bring escrow, bring verbs, leave our mouths in our house. Sable almost smiled. Tell the chair her adjective discipline is dangerous, she said. Tell Crown their survival instinct is getting interesting. Tell Kira she is welcome at the only salon I respect, which is soup. You could stop, I said. I could, she said, but then who would practice out loud for you? We walked home with our hands in each other's back pockets because rumor loves a parade and we prefer to pick the route. The thread had pivoted to a photo of Mrs. Alvarez's cat on the laundry machines with the caption, Supervisor. Someone posted a casserole schedule. Someone else apologized for being entertained. Kira texted a picture of a Sky lobby placard that read We choose daylight. The bartender texted a glass of water. We taped the spectrogram under the cupboard with the other ugly receipts, QR menus with tracking pixels, lipstick bands that weren't ours, prenatal reminders from sandboxes, folios for rooms under plastic, leases that tried to move us into ducts, itineraries that lived in cash, elevator overlays, glossy backfills, brass tags from roses. Not trophies. Topography. Later, in the blue slice the city can't monetize, Lee lay across me and put her ear where my chest tells the truth without engineers. Do you forgive me for the blink, she said, before the word worked. I forgive us both, I said. The point of a good lie is to find who still blushes. You blush, she said. Only when you cross-examine me like that, I said. There will be other voices, she said. There will be, I said. Bring your knot, bring your mouth, bring the word. We will keep choosing what we sound like.